that information. We took it to heart. And so, if this map is adopted, there will be no end to the questions and complaints that we all will hear, because it was drawn by people who have no concept of the communities of interest around this state and what county feels connected with another county, what concerns are the same concerns county to county. And of course, and these precincts, there's a lot of split precincts. You can't really even know what the potential outcome of an election run on the basis of this map. It'd be hard to discern what it is. But I do know this: even if we do adopt this and we pass it, I think our state Supreme Court would strike it down. And you look at, and I'm looking at the concurring opinion of Judge Kittredge, League of Women Voters of South Carolina, versus our congressional map. We won in the U.S. Supreme Court. We won in the state Supreme Court. This is the South Carolina State Supreme Court opinion. It was handed down not too long ago, in June 24th, 2025. This is in Judge Kittredge and Judge Hill in their concurring opinion. I do not, however, read the court's decision as creating a categorical rule that all future claims of excessive partisan gerrymandering are beyond judicial review. They concluded it was beyond their review, because this map was beyond their review. But this is Justice Kittredge, the Chief Justice, saying, I do not, however, read the court's decision as creating a categorical rule that all future claims of excessive partisan gerrymandering are beyond judicial review. I construe today's decision as cautious judicial deference, not indifference, meaning they're watching us. It remains conceivable that a future challenge may bring more fully developed constitutional violations with a discernible nexus to manageable judicial standards, thereby warranting judicial intervention. This is the Chief Justice saying, you go too far, you're going to get some intervention from us at the state Supreme Court level. And in his footnote, in the footnote to this section, Judge Kittredge and Hill say, to its credit, the South Carolina legislature has drawn our congressional district lines, the current ones we have, the ones that those from outside of this state are trying to get us to adopt. To its credit, South Carolina's legislature has drawn our congressional district lines to virtually ensure the current minority political party has representation in Congress, unlike some other states. And so this map will undo the premise of that footnote. And I think it's very likely that we will end up in federal court. We will also end up in state court as well, because Judge Kittredge and Hill have given us that forewarning, if you will. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator from Charleston, Senator Campson. We have amendments on the desk. I ask the reading clerk to publish the first amendment.
Amendment number 2 by Senator Johnson amends the concurrent resolution by striking subsection B, item 8, and inserts.
Senator from York, Senator Johnson, what purpose do you rise, sir?
To explain the amendment?
You're recognized on your amendment, sir. Senator from York, Senator Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, changing 2 lines. That's it. I'm simply saying that if we're going to be able to consider redistricting congressional lines, we should consider redrawing Senate and South Carolina House lines. I don't think anyone, based on Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court decisions, can make an argument that our congressional lines are on their face unconstitutional. If we are going to open this up, let's look at them all. Mr. President, move for adoption.
And Senator from Charleston, Senator Campson, what purpose do you rise?
Senator, yield for a question.
I will.
Senator yields for a question.
Senator, are you going to give it more of a look than we've given the congressional plan, or is it just a weekend's look?
I would hope that we would give it the full look, and we would take an in-depth look at these lines.
Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you rise?
I thought the senator was finished. I'll wait.
Senator from Anderson, Senator Cash, what purpose do you rise?
See if the senator will yield for a question.
Senator yield for a question.
I will.
Senator yields for a question.
So, Senator, just want to make sure I understand your intention. What it sounds like you're saying by this amendment is that if we should look at congressional redistricting to make sure the districts are constitutional, and as a result of this Supreme Court ruling, that it's only consistent and logical to look at the other races that are about to be voted on for the same purpose. Is that?
I think you and I would
Just
agree
stop it.
on that. Yes, Senator.
So, I guess further, Senator, the underlying concern there is that perhaps, as has been referenced, there might be some legal challenge to the idea of redrawing congressional districts a month away from an election if the same reasoning behind doing that does not also apply to other elections that are close at hand. That could lead to legal issues in court. I mean, is that kind of part of what you might be thinking?
Senator from Anderson, I'm a lawyer, but I try to stay out of the Constitution as much as I can and out of courtrooms. I will tell you this. This doesn't say shall. This doesn't make us take it up. Doesn't require that we take it up. Doesn't require that the House take it up. Gives us the opportunity to take this up. And if we are going to possibly take the opportunity to take congressional up, well, while we're out asking people, because I've just been told, Senator Maury, I heard him say we're going to do this thoroughly. Well, then let's do it thoroughly. Let's look at Senate districts. Let's look at State House districts, and let's make sure that we're doing this the correct way. Now, again, it's not required. There's no shall. There's no have to. It's just this is another option on the plate in the resolution.
Well, Senator, isn't it true that it's not a shall line of thought applies to the whole issue at hand, that the sine die resolution allows us to come back after Thursday and vote on a redistricting plan, but it doesn't specify what the outcome of that vote would be. Am I understanding it correctly?
Correct. I think you are. I think certainly what the sine die resolution does allows us to come back at the discretion of the president or the speaker as opposed to being pulled back if we didn't have one.
So you're simply enlarging the subject matter that could be taken up, but it does not require that we would postpone all elections and proceed for redistricting all of the state districts, but that just becomes a part of what's encompassed in the resolution, that that it should be considered, and we may end up doing all of it or none of it at the end of the day. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
I do, and I will say that it would be, to me, whatever we do, however this vote goes, whatever we decide, however we're going to do this, we should certainly try to keep all of these elections together. We should keep our House, our statewide offices, and our congressional elections together. And we should do them as quickly as we can, but they should certainly be together. Of course, can't have that option if you're not willing to look at some things. So I'm just trying to give us some options of what we could possibly do.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator from Sumter, what purpose do you raise?
Thank you, Mr. President. See if the Senator yield for a couple questions.
I will.
Senator yield for questions. Senator yields for questions.
Thank you, Senator. Did you know that I share your opinion on this?
Well, I appreciate that, Senator. It's good
Yes,
to hear.
sir. So what I've seen over the weekend, and tell me if you would agree with me, what I've seen over the weekend is a large push from a lot of folks to take up something, take up redistricting, take up a sine die amendment, really with not a lot of evidence or motivation behind it being the process. And so as the Senator from Ori spoke so greatly about process, I agree with that. And so what I believe this amendment, and correct me if I'm wrong, please clarify where I misspeak, this amendment is basically a double dog dare, a triple dog dare amendment. If folks are clamoring inauthentically because of political pressures, then this should hold their feet to the fire, shouldn't it, Senator?
And Senator, I'm not sure I'm double dog daring anybody to do anything. I'm simply saying, look, if we're going to open it up, let's look at it. Let's have the opportunity to poke under the hood if we're going to do this. Let's be honest about what we're doing, and let's take this. Let's have a long, hard look at it. I'm not daring anybody to do anything. I am simply asking for the opportunity for us to think about it, because that's all this resolution does. It gives us the opportunity to think about other issues and pass something on those. So that's all I'm looking for.
I agree.
Senator.
Well, I have looked at the numbers this weekend, and this map, although the map in question, actually, to be honest, and contrary to some other folks talking about communities of interest and counties voting in sort of clusters and everything, what this map actually, the proposed map, in my assessment, actually benefits my constituency in Sumter and Clarendon counties, and here's why. Because right now, we're on the very tail end. Sumter is on the very tail end of the 5th Congressional District.
How lucky you are to be in the 5th, Senator.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Well, until tomorrow, hopefully, because I think, for speaking on behalf of Sumterites, we're not real happy about the 5th Congressional District, and here's why. Much of what our representation has been over the last decade has been more obstruction, bloviation, really do-nothing antics in my mind, and what this coming from further up in north in the state, what this does, this map, and I'm of course not committed to any map, what it does is decouples Sumter in the Midlands from the population centers up in Kershaw, Lancaster, the rest. So that gives us, and what this new map could do is give Sumter the ability to position itself as one of the population centers in it, giving us better representation as far as I'm concerned. So my question to you, sir, back to my original question, and not try to be flippant or funny about it, but I believe there's a lot of people who supporting this for political reasons. I believe there are a lot of folks who would support this and or oppose this for very legitimate reasons. I support this because I want the best representation for my constituency as I can get. So I would say what I appreciate this amendment, what I believe it does, is it puts those people who are not real strong on this issue on record to say, if you're going to be here to make the hard decisions in South Carolina Senate, you're going to make them and you're not going to hide behind something. So, Mr. President, if that's okay, I would like to ask for a unanimous consent.
State your request, sir.
To be added as a co-sponsor to this amendment.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from Sumter, Senator Zell, to be added as a co-sponsor? Hearing no objection, so ordered. Senator from Georgetown, Senator Goldfinch, what purpose do you raise, sir?
See if Senator yield for a question.
Senator yield for question. Senator yields for question.
Senator, you're only touching House and Senate seats, is that right? I was just taking a look at your amendment.
That is, those are the ones with districts, yes, sir.
Yeah. But the net effect of that would be to move those elections until those maps are done, right?
Well, that's going to come in this is a vote to allow us to talk about it.
Why not?
Whether today, the vote on the Cindy Dye resolution is a vote on whether we can even discuss this after Thursday.
Right.
So I'm not saying that we're going to tie them together or not tie them together. I'm not saying that we're actually going to do any of this. I'm saying I'd like the opportunity to discuss this after 5 o'clock on Thursday.
I got it, but if we discuss it, we come to the conclusion they're unconstitutional, which I suspect we will, we have to then postpone those elections, right?
And Senator, I don't have an opinion on one way or the other whether they're constitutional. What I'm going to say is that I'd like the opportunity to talk about it. If we choose to talk about it and we choose to redraw those maps, then certainly they would be delayed. And how long they would be delayed and what that would look like is going to be up to this body and the body across the hall. And so but I'd like to have the opportunity to have the discussion.
And just for clarity, I don't think there's anything, I don't know of anything wrong with the South Carolina Senate seats, and you don't either, right?
I'm not aware of anything. No, sir.
But the South Carolina House seat, certainly, we think may have some problems.
Well, again, I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I'll leave that for others. But I'd like to have the opportunity for us to investigate it after Thursday at 5 o'clock. If we're going to pass this, let's look at it.
Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Kimbrell, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Mr. President, see if the senator yield for a question.
I will.
Senator yield for question. Senator yields for question.
Senator, just listening to your explanation and reading through the amendment, I know we've had some conversations about it. Would the notion be, I mean, as we've heard today, we've had a lot of arguments for or against doing redistricting. I mean, I think in light of the national scene, I understand what we're trying to achieve congressionally. Would you say that reopening the legislative maps provides some constitutional cover in the event? The argument out of Louisiana was it was Section 2 districts they were worried about. We've already said we don't have Section 2 districts here. I understand the political argument, and I'm supportive of trying to, well, frankly, get as many Republican seats as we could. But at the same time, if you open up now the legislative seats, particularly the House, if we have to make the argument that, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when we did redistricting, the notion was, well, it's not gerrymandered on a racial basis. We don't have a minority district in the state now. And so if we have to go say, well, we're reopening reapportionment or districts on congressional, but we don't really have a Section 2 problem. If you tie in the South Carolina House, do you think that helps us to make the argument over redistricting in its entirety?
I think that the poor lawyers we're going to send to defend this in court might struggle with their prior arguments being used against them when they go to court in a few months. I think by us taking a broader look and examining both the House and the Senate lines through a process that would need to be gone through, that we might be able to better answer those questions when the justices of our Supreme Court are asking them.
And that's kind of what I was getting at, Senator. So ultimately, I mean, of course, in the prior arguments before the court, we're saying these aren't racially gerrymandered districts. There's no Section 2 here on the congressional. But if we tie in what you're trying to do and open up the House and the Senate, you probably have a better chance of making that overall overarching argument if we redo the 7 congressional districts, right?
I would agree with you, Senator.
Then you're not stretching credulity or trying to, if you have 124 House members and all 124 seats are up, you're having to look at those lines. There may be some problems there, so we're not having to go reverse logic prior to still be able to redistrict Congress.
I'm with you, Senator.
I appreciate it, Senator. Thank you.
Senator from Chester, what purpose do you rise, sir?
See if Senator will yield for a few questions.
Senator yields for questions. Senator yields for questions.
Senator, you're from northern York County, correct?
As I like to call it, the better part of York. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Well, some people might, differ in that opinion, being from the southern portion.
You are definitely from below the river, Senator. I agree with you.
And so, and so you mentioned the word that I, quite frankly, was going to ask you about. I-77 in this new proposed map, or at least the one that we've seen, seems to be the dividing line in York County. Is that your understanding?
The map that is the only public map currently shows I-77 dividing York County. Yes, sir, Senator.
And so practically speaking, I live on the western side of I-77, about 2.5 miles off of exit 73. Were you aware?
I do know where you live, Senator, yes.
Did you know that I go to church on the eastern side of I-77 by about 2.5 miles the other direction.
Now, that I didn't know, Senator.
So there's definitely the river is a real divide. I will say that, both east and west and north and south, when it comes to groups of people. Would you agree with that?
I would. York County is a unique place, but the river certainly is a dividing line.
In fact, a lot of people believe that north of the river, whether it's TK or Fort Mill or even Indian land.
Be careful, Senator, that's going to be my district we're talking about.
That's right. But a lot of people kind of, correlate that as South Charlotte, almost.
Those of us who live there don't call it South Charlotte, but it is certainly an urban area with all of the comforts and traffic that an urban area have. So,
but Catawba and Leslie and that region is nothing like Indian Land or TK or Fort Mill. Would you agree
it is
with
a
that?
different area. The western part of York County, certainly the southern part of York County is certainly rural agriculture, smaller towns. You can it takes you 45 minutes to get to the grocery store because it's 45 minutes away. It takes me 45 minutes to get to the grocery store because it's 1.5 miles away. So I'm with you, Senator.
All right. So, but you do, in the grand scheme of things, you think if we're going to go through this process in regards to our congressional districts and pointing out the things that you and I just talked about, that you believe it's necessary that we definitely look at the things that might be more problematic, like the state Senate and state House seats?
Senator, I just think we ought to have an opportunity to take a look at it. I'm not against redrawing congressional lines. I may have issues with the map as it's currently drawn, but I don't have a problem with taking a look at congressional lines. I also don't have a problem with looking at our lines, state House lines, state Senate lines, and making sure that we're in compliance. If we're very focused on making sure that Congress is constitutional, which it is, then let's make sure we are as well.
But this redrawing has nothing to do with constitutionality in regards to the congressional districts, correct?
That is what I hear, Senator. That's what I hear.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Senator from Lancaster, what purpose do you rise, sir?
See if the senator will yield for questions.
Senator, yield for questions.
will.
Senator, yield for questions.
Senator, just a quick question. If we were to look at our lines and the House lines on statewide level, how much time are we talking about even getting to the point of forming a committee? How many times would they meet? How do you anticipate that even going forward? How long would it take?
Senator, I'll be very honest, I'm not sure how long it would take. I wasn't intimately involved in the last time we redrew lines. I was a freshman. They just told me what my lines were going to be. I was number 44. I showed up in a map room. They said, this is all that's left, and that's what I had. I will say this, though, Senator. I would hope we would take the exact amount of time that we're willing to take to draw our lines, to draw congressional lines. I think they're equally as important, and so therefore I think we ought to have that opportunity. If you don't, and I'm not saying if you don't think they're important, you won't vote for the amendment, but it's equally as important to me that if we're going to open one, let's have the opportunity, and maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just decide, hey, we've looked at this, we'll just do the congressional lines and we'll move on. But I think we ought to be able to have the discussion and start, and after Thursday at 5 o'clock, if this isn't in the sine die, you're never going to have that discussion. You're never going to have that opportunity. So I can't tell you the exact timeline, Senator, but I can tell you I think they're both equally important and they should be looked at.
Thank you.
Pending question is adoption of the amendment. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Want to be heard?
You're recognized on the amendment. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms.
Have y'all seen this map? My gosh, it's crazy. It absolutely connects downtown Charleston with the state capitol. Is that crazy? It connects the Atlantic Ocean in Jasper County with the city of Sumter. It connects the Sun City down there, Groveland in Jasper County. It connects it with Lake City in Florence County. That's a crazy map. Who on earth would propose something like that? You know who did? We did. We voted for that map. That's the current map. I get folks up here, I heard them talking about communities of interest needing to stick together. That's the map right now. That's the 6th district right now. It does look like a, I don't know, like an amoeba or something, but it's better than what it was before. But it's still crazy looking. I'm from Berkeley County, and the president pro tem at one time was Rembert Dennis up there. In 1984, he held the podium right here for about 3 days under a reapportionment fight, trying to keep the county from being split, because he knew if the county ever got split, we would lose some political clout in Berkeley County. You know what happened? He lost his fight. Berkeley County was split, and then it was split again. Then it was split again. I was in a marginalized part of the county where we hardly got any congressional representation. But when I got elected to the Senate, I made it my mission to try to put the county back together again. And over the last 25 years, I've now been able to put Berkeley County wholly within a congressional district where we can have a greater say-so than what we had before. I've looked at these maps. You can look at them side by side. If you want to talk about compactness, talk about communities of interest, the map that the House has put forward, House Bill 5683, I think it's a pretty good map. I think it's a really good map for those along the coast. And I've heard some folks, and I've got some folks already saying, well, that's crazy to put Myrtle Beach and Charleston together, put Myrtle Beach and Mount Pleasant together. Well, from 1992 to 2012, they were together. And you know who the congressmen were? Senator Arthur Ravenel, at that time Congressman Arthur Ravenel. Then it was Congressman Mark Sanford. Then it was Congressman Henry Brown. Then it was Congressman Tim Scott. All 4 of those from the Charleston region, all 4 of those representing the coastal area of South Carolina, from Mount Pleasant all the way to the Little River in Horry County. It was a good district then. It would be a good district if they were put together again. Members, we have before us a sine die resolution. What happens if we have no sine die resolution? What happens on Thursday at 5 o'clock when someone makes a point of order that the Senate session has come to an end? 5 o'clock, point of order. That's it. Session's done. All business is over with, and we go home. You know what? We hadn't passed a budget yet. Conferees, I don't think they started working yet. This state can't operate without a budget, and we all know that. Which means if no other reason at all, the governor's calling us back into special session. The governor calls us back into special session. He'll name the date. We lose control of the date. But right now, we don't even know what the date would be on this sine die resolution. At a time that the president and a time that the speaker believes it's in the best interest for us to return. That's when we come back. So right now, it's an unknown date, whether the governor calls us back or whether President Alexander calls us back. But what happens is we come back, and all matters are under consideration, absent of a sine die resolution. But I would rather control things a little bit more. I'd rather have a sine die resolution that controls what we can discuss when we come back. And the House has amended our sine die resolution and sent it over here to us. That's what we're considering. Now we're considering adding an amendment, and we have another amendment coming up after this one. If there's any changes to the sine die resolution that we're now discussing, it has to go back to the House for further discussions. And they may amend further, send it back. I don't know, we're running out of time. So the question is, do we want to include congressional reapportionment and the and the election calendar. If that's what we want to do, then we vote no on this amendment. We vote no on the next amendment. We vote down all the amendments, and then we vote on the sine die resolution. But if you don't like the sine die resolution, or if you don't like things that are in it, if we don't have one, we're coming back anyway. And I imagine that reapportionment will be taken up. The House is moving on this rather quickly, and for no other reason. I like the way the House bill has these maps laid out. I think it is good for at least my part of the state. I can't speak for the rest of you. The senator from Sumter a minute ago was talking about how he likes this map that doesn't split Sumter all up, that they would have a greater say-so and a little bit of more political strength when it comes to voting to be able to get the attention that they need.
Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you rise, sir?
See if the senator from Berkeley would yield for questions.
Senator yield for questions.
Senator yields.
Senator yields for questions.
Senator, you brought up a good point, and I know I'm a co-sponsor on this bill because, or the concurrent resolution, excuse me, because we need to control our own destiny. Are you aware we've been in situations before where we've had a governor call us back in and then anything's on the table? Then you've got to agree to it. You're not focused. It's my understanding that I believe you made clear that this is focused on 2026 congressional redistricting is the addition to the sine die.
That's it, only.
Now, if we pass this sine die resolution clean, it doesn't really go back to the House. It's a Senate bill. It goes right to be adopted, correct?
The House made changes, so it would require a 2/3 vote for that change they made.
Just saying, if we took a 2/3 vote in the Senate without changing, it's done.
That's correct.
If we make any amendments to this sine die right now, we're setting it up for a ping pong, correct? We could be working on sine die back and forth, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, until we get to sine die and it's over. So
correct.
are you aware that if we're going to do this and have an actual sine die resolution, we need to pass the sine die resolution that was amended for one thing? Are you aware of that?
That's my belief, and that's what I'm urging this body to do. So based on that, I move the table.
Motion is to table the amendment. Roll call is requested. The 5 members second that call. Senator from Williamsburg, what purpose do you rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. President, and let me just say that I appreciate the discussion that we've had on the Senate floor. I'd like to hearken back to a comment that was made by the majority leader as it relates to procedurally where we are. Mr. President, it was
So we have an amendment, and we have another amendment that will come after this amendment.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. But my parliamentary inquiry would be, it was my understanding based on the comments that were made earlier that if we were to vote in favor of the last resolution, strike that, the last amendment, that we would not vote on the sine die resolution. My parliamentary inquiry, Mr. President, is we've got 2 amendments before us. The question would be, if we vote favorably on either one of the amendments that's before us, would we then be precluded from voting on the sine die resolution?
If you adopt an amendment, then there's not another vote.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes. We have the motion to table. More than 5 has seconded that motion. Clerk has rung the bell, is ringing the bell. Reading clerk will call the roll on the motion to table the amendment.
Mr. Adams? Aye. Mr. Alexander? Aye. Mr. Allen? Aye. Mr. Bennett? No. Mr. Blackman votes no. Mr. Bright. Not voting, Mr. Campson. Mr. Campson not voting, Mr. Cash. No. Mr. Chaplin votes aye. Mr. Clymer. Aye. Mr. Corbin. Aye. Mr. Cromer. No. Mr. Davis. Aye. Mrs. Devine. Aye. Mr. Elliott. No. Mr. Fernandez. Not voting, Mr. Gambrell. Aye. Mr. Garrett. Aye. Mr. Goldfinch. Aye. Mr. Graham. Aye. Mr. Grooms. Aye. Mr. Hembry. No. Mr. Hutto. Aye. Mr. Jackson. Aye. Mr. Johnson. No. Mr. Kennedy. Not voting, Mr. Kimbrell. Aye. Mr. Lieber. Not voting, Mr. Martin. Aye. Mr. Massey. No. Mrs. Matthews votes aye. Mr. Ott. Not voting, Mr. Peeler. Aye. Mr. Rankin. No. Mr. Rickenbaugh. Aye. Mr. Rice. Aye. Mr. Sabb. Aye. Mr. Stubbs. No. Mr. Sutton. Aye. Mr. Tedder votes aye. Mr. Turner. Mr. Turner votes aye. Mr. Verdon. Aye. Mr. Walker. Aye. Mr. Williams. Aye. Mr. Young. Aye. Mr. Zell. No.
Have all senators voted? Senator Davis votes no. Senator Campson votes no. Senator Ott votes aye. Aye, correct? Senator Kennedy votes no. Senator Lieber votes no. Senator Bright votes aye. Senator Fernandez votes aye. Further members wishing to cast your vote? Final call. Polls are closed and the clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 31 to 15, the amendment is tabled. We have an additional amendment.
Next amendment, amendment number 3 by Senator Cash, amends the concurrent resolution in subsection B by adding an appropriate numbered item to read.
Senator from Anderson, Senator Cash, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Speak on the amendment.
Recognized on the amendment. Senator from Anderson, Senator Cash. Senator from Anderson, Senator
Thank you,
Cash.
Mr. President. All right. So we're here today to vote on the sine die resolution, which tells us what matters we can come back to work on after the session formally ends at 5 o'clock on Thursday. And this amendment before you would allow us to return to take up S 1095 and to take up H 4760, both of which are pro-life bills. 4760 is a bill that has passed the House. S 1095 is a bill that has passed the full Medical Affairs Committee. Both of these bills are currently on our calendar in a contested status. So you might be wondering why I am offering this amendment, why it's relevant, and that's a fair question. I would say on the one hand, it's
it's obviously not relevant if we're just talking about redistricting. The killing of unborn children and redistricting are very dissimilar subjects. However, it is relevant to the sine die resolution itself, because a sine die resolution speaks to unfinished business. Sine die resolution speaks to important business, to urgent business. I mean, that's why we're talking about redistricting. It's urgent. We've got to postpone elections that are a month away because this is urgent. It's important. It potentially could affect who controls the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C. That's why we have an amendment, because it's important, it's urgent. So I would submit to you that importance and urgency are in the eye of the beholder. In 2024, our state recorded 3,025 abortions. Those were the reported abortions. They don't include babies that were killed by people taking abortion pills that were ordered from out of state or from overseas. 3,025 that we know of in 2024. Soon we'll know how many there were in 2025. If you add in the unreported abortions, perhaps we're talking about 5,000 real human lives in 2024. Another 5,000 in 2025, and another 5,000 that are happening right now, day by day. If you believe that it is in fact a human being, an unborn child that's developing in the womb, if you believe that the government has a fundamental duty to protect innocent human life, then I simply can't see how there could be something that's more important and more urgent than addressing that. We are days away from the end of a 2-year legislative cycle. And we have yet to put a pro-life bill on the floor of the South Carolina Senate after 2 years. So let me mention another reason why I think that this amendment is relevant to the sine die. And that's this: it wasn't that long ago that we actually included the pro-life issue in the sine die resolution. For those of you who were here, it was 2022. The circumstance in 2022 was we thought that the Supreme Court was going to release its ruling, and in case the ruling somehow overturned Roe v. Wade, the General Assembly wanted to be able to come back and take up legislation that would be a response to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. I know this sounds like ancient history, 2022, but here's the sine die resolution from 2022. It's pretty extensive, about 5 pages. And one of these points says that we can come back for the introduction, receipt, and consideration of legislation in response to a decision of the United States Supreme Court in the case of Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization. That was in our sine die resolution, and that's the only reason we were able to come back in 2022 and take up what became known as the Human Life Protection Act. And so we came back in 2022. We had a bill, the Human Life Protection Act. And if you were here, you know we returned in the Senate in September, in October, and in November, and we failed on all three accounts to pass that bill, with 6 Republicans joining with the Democrats to frustrate the passage of the Human Life Protection Act. So why do I mention that? Because we have unfinished business. We were 2 votes short of cloturing filibuster in 2022 that would have allowed the passage of the Human Life Protection Act. We were 2 votes short. So let's roll forward just a minute into 2023. The membership of the chambers did not differ any in 2023, and so in 2023 we failed again to pass the Human Life Protection Act, but we did succeed in passing the second version of the heartbeat bill, which is the current law governing abortion in South Carolina. And then when we move forward in 2024, there were several changes to this body as a result of the primaries, and there were an additional number of changes as a result of the general elections in 2024. And I can't remember how many of y'all are brand new, but it's like 9 or 13 members, I believe, 9 Republicans, 13 altogether out of this body of 46 who have joined us since 2024.
Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Bright, what purpose do you raise?
Will the senator yield for a question?
Senator yields.
Senator yields for a question.
Senator, were you aware that if you're able to get this amendment on here, this will go back to the House, and were you aware that they'll either basically concur with what we've done because it's a Senate bill? So it's a very simple process if this amendment goes on for them to concur over there and it to be done, and then an opportunity for these children to at least have a glimmer of hope. Were you aware?
I appreciate you mentioning that, Senator, because the sine die is a very important resolution, and we all know that as soon as we do something over here, it's going across the hall immediately.
And Senator, were you aware that they passed legislation over there, and were you aware that in the House this year they have an election coming up in a month? Were you aware of that, or in just a few weeks?
Well, I appreciate that. The election ramifications I don't think are lost on any of us, but to add to that, Senator, the House has passed the pro-life bill. I don't know why, if we sent them an amendment including pro-life legislation, I don't know why they would have any issue with that. The problem is not in the House. The problem is in the Senate.
Well, Senator, were you aware that I firmly believe that if we send this on there, it'll be concurred with, as far as from a time standpoint, as fast as we've seen anything done in these chambers, and then we can go on to redraw these lines. Were you aware of that?
I would agree with you, Senator. The House would like to get on with redrawing the lines. The pro-life issue has been a major plank in the platform of the Republican Party for a generation, particularly in South Carolina. I just can't foresee any scenario where if the Senate says we're willing for this to be part of the sine die, the House is then going to say, oh no, we're not really that pro-life with election a month away. You know, we're not going to agree to that. I just can't imagine that they would take that position, Senator, but I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. And so, when we failed in 2022 to pass the Human Life Protection Act, the makeup of the chamber was 30 Republicans and 16 Democrats. In 2024, the Republicans gained 4 seats. There's 34 Republicans and 12 Democrats. 26 votes are needed for cloture. I can't understand why we don't have a pro-life bill on the floor of this Senate with the session running out. Now, I understand that we're all very busy and that we have a lot of bills that we have to deal with. And I understand how hard it is to get a pro-life bill to the floor. Adding this to the sine die wouldn't require us to come back, but it would allow us to come back. We say, well, we've got so many other things to do. And yeah, we've been doing those other things for 2 years, and we got 3 days left. Which gets me back to the first point. Do we believe that 5,000 human beings are being killed in South Carolina every year by abortions, or do we not believe it? I submit if you don't really, if it doesn't matter to you, if somehow that doesn't connect your heart and your mind, then don't vote for this. Just say, gosh, that's too difficult. Those debates are always painful and controversial, and people get upset. Don't vote for it. But if you say you're pro-life, abortion is really important, the Republican Party is the party of life, how can you not vote to include this in the sine die resolution? A bill that has passed the House, a bill that has passed full Medical Affairs Committee. I understand we don't have time to take it up this week or last week or the week before that, and so on and so forth. But you know, this redistricting, whatever we're going to do with it, we're going to do with it in the next several weeks, right? If we're going to have elections in August based on some kind of maps that are going to get redrawn here, then the maps have got to be produced and we got to vote on them to get on with August elections. And then we're going to have 5 months. Now, I like to go on vacation. I like to go with all my kids and grandkids to the beach. I like to go to the mountains. Occasionally, I travel abroad. But 5 months is a long time. If you believe this is really important, we could come back here at some point in time and take up a pro-life bill because it's apparent that we haven't had time to do it in 2 years. In fact, neither chamber took up a pro-life bill and passed it in 2025 because, to our shame, it was not a priority in either Republican-dominated chamber. So now here we are, and what's sucking all the oxygen out of the room the last week of session is, are we going to postpone some congressional elections and redraw maps, and all of a sudden the whole world's got to revolve around that, and we can't think of anything other than that? Again, if we're going to do redistricting, and I'm planning to vote for the sine die resolution, if we're going to do it, we're going to have to do it pretty quick. Adding these bills to the sine die resolution has no impact on the redistricting question. Simply has no impact on it. It's simply a matter of whether you think it's important that we actually vote on these bills, whether you think it's important that we try to stop the killing of unborn babies. Well, if you don't, then between now and the next time we get a chance to see something like this pass both chambers, a year's going to go by, and probably 2 years. So if you believe that unborn babies are getting killed in abortion clinics or actually at home now, it's 5,000 or 10,000 more lives, depending on whether it takes a year or 2 years for us to do anything. Because we haven't done anything in 2 years, there's certainly no guarantee that we're going to do something in the next 2 years. You know, these bills that we've got on the calendar, some people don't like them. I have critiqued the House bill for the main reason is it doesn't move the line of protection from heartbeat at all. It doesn't even attempt to move the line of protection for the unborn child from heartbeat. I know some people don't like the Senate bill, which I wrote, because they think it does too much. They think it's too strong. It includes criminal penalties for anyone and everyone involved in killing an unborn child, and they can't stomach that, even though that used to be on our books until we wrote the heartbeat law. But those bills, if they're taken up, they can be amended, they can be changed. I've told those who've asked me, if we put the House bill on the floor, I'm certainly going to put up amendments to change it because it's such a weak bill and it does so very little. And I'm simply not in favor of hollow victories that aren't really going to stop the killing of unborn babies. But I'm willing to have the House bill on the floor. I'm willing to put up the amendments and make my arguments and take the votes. Certainly rather put the Senate bill on the floor. But we got to decide, what's this Republican Party stand for? Maybe we should just take the pro-life plank out. Apparently that's a plank that's just too hard to deal with. It's not that important to us. We've had 2 years and hadn't done a thing about it. I don't know, all the numbers, but I'm going to guess 34 is the high water mark for Republican senators in modern history. 34 has got to be the high water mark in this Senate chamber. More senators from the pro-life party than ever before in history. We've gone through a 2-year cycle without putting a pro-life bill on the floor and taking votes on it. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm trying to give us an opportunity to fix that. I know we've run out of time on the calendar because pro-life bills tend to consume some time once we start talking and debating. You could say, well, it sounds like a good idea, but we could just wait till January. Which is true, we could. But we'd be right back where we are right now, which is, are we going to do anything about this or not? We'd be right back to listing out our priorities for the coming 2-year session. And we'd be right back to dealing with the elephant in the room, which is the party of pro-life is not that interested in pro-life. Now that we have the authority from the Supreme Court to write the law of pro-life. So we're here because of a Supreme Court decision challenging the constitutionality of districts where the racial factor of the makeup may have been overdone. We're here because of a Supreme Court decision that says y'all have got to review things and get it right. And so we're going to have to do our due diligence, whether we're doing that in the next 2 weeks or the next 2 years, to look at these maps, probably including the state maps, because the Supreme Court has initiated something and now it becomes our responsibility to respond to what they've laid out constitutionally. And that is exactly what happened 4 years ago After 50 years, after 65 million unborn babies had been aborted, the Supreme Court threw their hands up and said, you know what? The states should really decide this issue. They should write the laws. They should make the policy. That's what they said to us in 2022. And in 2022, we had a different view of the matter, because in 2022, before we even knew what the Dobbs decision was going to say, we put it into the sine die that we would be able to come back here and respond to the Dobbs decision. We weren't so afraid of it at that point in time.
Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Bright, what purpose do you raise, sir?
Will the senator yield for a couple of questions?
Senator yields for questions.
Senator yields for questions.
Senator, were you aware that by you putting up this amendment that this will give this body an opportunity to at least have one vote on life this year?
Well, Senator, despite what anyone might say about this, it's not a poison pill. You know, I'm planning to vote for the sine die resolution. If my amendment fails, I'm still going to vote for it. This amendment has no impact whatsoever on redistricting. If we adopt this amendment, it'll go over to the House, and I believe they will concur with us, and we will go on with whatever the plan here is going to be about redistricting. That's what I believe will happen. So it's not intended to be a poison pill. It's intended to give us an opportunity to do something that we haven't done with this 2-year session coming to an end.
And Senator, were you aware that this will probably be the easiest pro-life vote that can be cast, because this isn't a vote to pass the bill. This is just a vote to put it on the sine die where there might be an opportunity for the bill to be heard. Were you aware?
I would tend to agree with your characterization. This is a vote to give those bills a chance of us being called back for them to be heard, where you might then have to vote. But if you can't vote for even a chance, I mean, how deep do your pro-life convictions run to vote it down to where we know for certain nothing's going to be done this year to help save the babies?
Well, Senator, I thank you for sponsoring the amendment, and Mr. President, I ask for unanimous consent to be listed as a co-sponsor of the amendment.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Bright, to be a co-sponsor of the amendment? Hearing no objection, so ordered. Senator Bright will be added as a co-sponsor.
So I'm going to sit down in just a minute, not trying to sidetrack or filibuster the sine die resolution. I could talk about that. I've got my own thoughts and opinions. Most of what I would say has already been said in one form or fashion by other people. But I didn't think it would be right to let us go home Thursday without having a chance to at least have this conversation, take this vote on adding this to the sine die with the hope that maybe we could still pass a pro-life bill this year that would be meaningful in saving unborn babies and bringing that line of protection back from heartbeat to clinically diagnosable pregnancy. So with that, Mr. President, I move for adoption and ask for a roll call.
Pending question is adoption of the amendment. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you raise?
Wish to be heard.
You're recognized. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms.
Members, on your desk earlier today, I asked unanimous consent to have some information distributed to the members. And it's actually a letter from South Carolina Citizens for Life. It was sent to the president. I received a copy, and I thought it would be important enough for all the members in this body to see it. This is about House Bill 4760. The senator from Anderson is asking us now to amend the sine die resolution to allow us to take up that bill should we come back to take up reapportionment. The senator from Anderson a minute ago said that he is not in favor of hollow victories. The passage of his amendment would be nothing but a hollow victory, because we're not taking this bill up when we come back for reapportionment. But we can take it up today. It's on our calendar. Turn with me to page 35 on your calendar. House Bill 4760, there it is. It's being contested right now by two members of this body, but there's mechanisms in place where we can bring the bill up today and give it a second reading, and tomorrow and give it a third reading and have it enrolled for ratification. We can take this up today. We can pass this before sine die. But we all know we're not taking this up past 5 o'clock this Thursday. So unless you just want a hollow victory, if you just want a hollow victory, then vote for this amendment. But if you actually want to save babies, stay here today. Insist that we take up House Bill 4760 today and give it a second reading and a third reading before 5 o'clock on Thursday. That's how you pass this bill and save lives, because we all know we're not taking it up past sine die, even if we get it included on this resolution. But what we do know is it could really mess with the ability to take up reapportionment. We're amending it with the ping pong, sending it back over there with hopes that they will accept it or even send it back to us with the clock ticking the whole time. So if you want to debate this bill, let's debate it today. It's on the calendar. It's ripe for debate. Mr. President, I move the table.
Pending question is the motion to table the amendment. Do 5 members second? More than 5 second the call to table the amendment. The clerk will ring the bell. The reading clerk will call the roll of the Senate on the motion to table the amendment.
Mr. Adams? Aye. Mr. Alexander? Aye. Mr. Allen? Aye. Mr. Bennett? Aye. Mr. Blackman? Aye. Mr. Bright? No. Mr. Campson? Aye. Mr. Cash? No. Mr. Chaplin? No. Mr. Clymer? No. Mr. Corbin? No. Mr. Cromer? Aye. Mr. Davis? Aye. Mrs. Devine? Aye. Mr. Elliott? No. Mr. Fernandez? No. Mr. Gambrell? Votes no. Mr. Garrett? No. Mr. Goldfinch? Votes no. Mr. Graham? Aye. Mr. Grooms? Aye. Mr. Hembry? Aye. Mr. Hutto? Aye. Mr. Jackson? Aye. Mr. Johnson? Aye. Mr. Kennedy? Votes no. Mr. Kimbrell? Aye. Mr. Lieber? No. Mr. Martin? Aye. Mr. Massey? Aye. Mrs. Matthews? Aye. Mr. Ott? Aye. Mr. Peeler? Aye. Mr. Rankin? Aye. Mr. Riggenbaugh? Not voting, Mr. Rice. Votes no. Mr. Sabb? Aye. Mr. Stubbs? No. Mr. Sutton? Aye. Mr. Tedder? Votes aye. Mr. Turner? Aye. Mr. Verdon? No. Mr. Walker? Votes aye. Mr. Williams? Aye. Mr. Young? Aye. Mr. Zell? Aye.
Have all senators voted? Have all senators cast your vote? Senator Rickenbach, no? Further members wishing to record your vote? Final call. The polls are closed. The clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 30 to 16, the amendment is tabled. There are no further amendments. Therefore, the question is concurrence and House amendments. A roll call is required. The clerk will please ring the bell. Two-thirds vote is required. The reading clerk will call the roll of the Senate.
Mr. Adams? Aye. Mr. Alexander? Aye. Mr. Allen? No. Mr. Bennett? No. Mr. Blackman? Not voting, Mr. Bright? Aye. Mr. Campson? No. Mr. Cash? Aye. Mr. Chaplin? Aye. Mr. Clymer? Aye. Mr. Corbin? Aye. Mr. Cromer? Not voting, Mr. Davis? No. Mrs. Devine? No. Mr. Elliott? Aye. Mr. Fernandez? Aye. Mr. Gambrell? Aye. Mr. Garrett? Aye. Mr. Goldfinch? Aye. Mr. Graham? No. Mr. Grooms? Aye. Mr. Hembry? No. Mr. Hutto? No. Mr. Jackson? No. Mr. Johnson? Aye. Mr. Kennedy? Aye. Mr. Kimbrell? Aye. Mr. Lieber? Aye. Mr. Martin? Aye. Mr. Massey? No. Mrs. Matthews? No. Mr. Ott votes no. Mr. Peeler? Aye. Mr. Rankin? Not voting, Mr. Rickenbaugh votes aye. Mr. Rice? Aye. Mr. Sabb? No. Mr. Stubbs? Aye. Mr. Sutton? No. Mr. Tedder votes no. Mr. Turner? Aye. Mr. Verdon? Aye. Mr. Walker? No. Mr. Williams? No. Mr. Young? Aye. Mr. Zell? Aye.
Have all senators voted? Senator Cromer votes aye. Senator Blackman votes aye. Senator Rankin votes aye. Further members wishing to record your vote. Final call. The polls are closed. The clerk will please tabulate. By a vote of 29 to 17, the Senate refuses to concur in House amendments. We have additional bills in the box. The reading clerk will continue to read.
House is returned to the Senate with amendments. S 508, bill by Senator Verdon and others, amending the code relating to the protection of certain monuments and memorials so as to expand the type of monuments or memorials that may not be relocated, removed, or disturbed.
Senator from Lawrence, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Mr. President, this is the monument bill returned with numerous amendments from the House. I would ask unanimous consent to non-concur with House amendments.
Is there objection with unanimous consent request by the senator from Lawrence to non-concur in the House amendments? Hearing no objection, so ordered. The Senate has now non-concurred in the House amendments. The reading clerk will please continue to read.
The House is returned to the Senate with Senate amendments amended. H 3768. This is a bill amending an act of 2019 relating to highway system construction so as to change the sunset expiration provision to July 1st, 2031.
The bill will be placed on the calendar.
Further introduction of H 5664, it's a concurrent resolution. Question Department of Transportation name a portion of Patterson Mill Road in Allendale County the Veterans Memorial Highway and direct appropriate signs and markers.
Resolution will be referred to the Transportation Committee.
Jasper County Delegation reports favorable reappointment of a Jasper County Magistrate, Honorable Jacqueline S. Lee of Pineland.
Question is confirmation of the Jasper County Magistrate. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Jasper County Magistrate is confirmed by the Senate. Reading clerk will continue to read.
Hampton County Delegation has reported favorable on the reappointment of a Hampton County Magistrate, the Honorable Lakeisha X. Allen of Varnville.
Question is confirmation of the Hampton County Magistrate. All in favor say aye. Aye has been heard. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The individual is confirmed for Hampton County Magistrate. The desk is clear. Are there any requests for local bills? Any requests for local bills? Final call. Hearing none, we go to third reading, statewide, uncontested. I'm sorry, the senator from Charleston, Senator Campson. What purpose do you rise?
Inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Has S 961 been returned from the House?
I'll check. It will come up, you waived the printing earlier, so it will come up in the regular order of the calendar. Yes. We go to page 6, third reading uncontested, top of the page, H 3569. We have an amendment on the desk. Yeah, because we hadn't done a roll call. Reading clerk will publish the amendment.
Amendments by Senator Young, amends the bill, Section 1, strike Section 2740, 350, subsection B, and inserts.
Senator from Aiken, what purpose do you rise?
To explain the amendment.
You're recognized on the amendment.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, this amendment clarifies and fixes a scrivener's error in an earlier amendment that we adopted last week as far as notice to the landlord. The word later was in the draft last week when it should have said earlier, and this just changes it from later to earlier. Move for adoption.
Question is the adoption of the amendment. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. Well, So there are no further amendments. The question is, third reading of H 3569, top of page 6. We preserve the roll call for third reading, so the roll call will be ordered. The clerk will ring the bell. The reading clerk will call the roll. Third reading. H 3569, top of page 6.
Mr. Adams. Aye. Mr. Alexander. Aye. Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen not voting. Mr. Bennett. Aye. Mr. Blackman. Aye. Mr. Bright. Mr. Bright not voting. Mr. Campson. Aye. Mr. Cash. Aye. Mr. Chaplin. Aye. Mr. Clymer. Mr. Clymer not voting. Mr. Corbin. Mr. Corbin not voting. Mr. Cromer. Aye. Mr. Davis. Aye. Mrs. Devine. Not voting. Mr. Elliott. Mr. Elliott not voting. Mr. Fernandez. Votes no. Mr. Gambrell. Aye. Mr. Garrett. Aye. Mr. Goldfinch. Aye. Mr. Graham. Aye. Mr. Grooms. Aye. Mr. Hembry. Mr. Hembry not voting. Mr. Hutto. Votes aye. Mr. Jackson. Aye. Mr. Johnson. Aye. Mr. Kennedy. Not voting. Mr. Kimbrell. Votes aye. Mr. Lieber. Aye. Mr. Martin. Aye. Mr. Massey. Mr. Massey not voting. Mrs. Matthews. Votes aye. Mr. Ott. Votes aye. Mr. Peeler. Aye. Mr. Rankin. Aye. Mr. Rickema. Aye. Mr. Rice. Votes aye. Mr. Sabb. Aye. Mr. Stubbs. Aye. Mr. Sutton. Aye. Mr. Tedder. Votes aye. Mr. Turner. Aye. Mr. Verdon. Aye. Mr. Walker. Aye. Mr. Williams. Aye. Mr. Young. Aye. Mr. Zell. Aye.
Have all senators voted? Senator Bright votes aye. Senator Kennedy votes aye. Senator Devine votes aye. Senator Allen votes aye. Senator Elliott votes aye. Senator Corbin votes aye. Senator Clymer votes aye. Further members wishing to cast your vote? Further members wishing to cast? Senator Hembry votes aye. Senator Massey votes no. Senator Massey votes no. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Bright, what votes no? Senator Bright votes no. Final members wishing, final call. Senator Corbin votes no. Final call. The polls are closed. The clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 42-4, the bill receives the third reading of the Senate. We go further on page 6, H 4189. The reading clerk will please read.
Numerous sections of the code, all relating to the Department of Health and Environmental Control, so as to make conforming changes to the restructuring and provided by the Act, and amending further sections relating to the Department of Health and Environmental Control.
Question is, third reading of 4189. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is given a third reading. We go to page 7, H 5164. The reading clerk will please read.
This bill adds a section to the code so as to provide for fire and building code exceptions for placement of hospital beds in hallways, corridors, or other means of egress during justified emergencies.
Question is, third reading of H 5164. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is given a third reading. Middle of the page, H 3335. The reading clerk will please read.
This bill amends the code relating to designation of representation in magistrates court so as to include housing authorities.
The pending question is third reading of H 3335. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is given a third reading. We go to H 4337, also on page 7, asking the reader clerk to please read.
This bill amends the code so as to grant subpoena powers to the Legislative Audit Council, amending further sections relating to qualifications for the director of the Legislative Audit Council, and amending further sections relating to access to agency records.
Senator from Ori, Senator Rankin, what purpose you ask?
Move to carry over 4337.
All those in favor of the motion to carry over H 4337, please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you. The bill is carried over. Go to page H 5113. The reading clerk will please read.
This is a bill which adds a section to the code so as to prohibit local governments from preventing the continuance of lawful nonconforming use of property when a pre-existing manufactured home or mobile home is replaced with a new manufactured home or mobile home.
Pending question is third reading of H 5113. A roll call was preserved to third reading. Roll call is required. The clerk will please ring the bell. Senator from York, Senator Johnson, what purpose do you ask?
Unanimous consent request?
State your request.
To apply the last unanimous roll call to this, third roll call to this vote. Wasn't there one before? All right.
Clerk will call the roll on 5113, bottom of page 8.
Mr. Adams. Aye. Mr. Alexander. Aye. Mr. Allen. Aye. Mr. Bennett. Aye. Mr. Blackman. Aye. Mr. Bright. Aye. Mr. Campson. Aye. Mr. Cash. Aye. Mr. Chaplin. Not voting, Mr. Clymer. Votes aye, Mr. Corbin. Aye, Mr. Cromer. Aye, Mr. Davis. Aye, Mrs. Devine. Aye, Mr. Elliott. Aye, Mr. Fernandez. Aye, Mr. Gambrell. Aye, Mr. Garrett. Aye, Mr. Goldfinch. Aye, Mr. Graham. Votes aye, Mr. Grooms. Aye, Mr. Hembry. Aye, Mr. Hutto. Aye, Mr. Jackson. Aye, Mr. Johnson. Aye, Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy not voting, Mr. Kimbrell. Votes aye, Mr. Lieber. Aye, Mr. Martin. Aye, Mr. Massey. Aye, Mrs. Matthews. Aye, Mr. Ott. Aye, Mr. Peeler. Aye, Mr. Rankin. Aye, Mr. Riggenbaugh. Aye, Mr. Rice. Votes aye, Mr. Sabb. Aye, Mr. Stubbs. Mr. Stubbs votes aye, Mr. Sutton. Aye, Mr. Tedder. Aye, Mr. Turner. Aye, Mr. Burden. Aye, Mr. Walker. Aye, Mr. Williams. Votes aye, Mr. Young. Aye, Mr. Zell. Aye.
Have all senators voted? Senator Chaplin votes aye. Senator Kennedy votes aye. Further members wishing to record your vote. Final call. The polls are closed. The clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 46-0, H5113 receives a third reading of the Senate. We now go to page 9, toward the top of the page, H4069. The reading clerk will please read.
This is a bill which adds a section to the code so as to establish certain requirements pertaining to patient billing for health services and supplies.
The question is, third reading of H4069. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is given a third reading. We go to page 10, top of the page, H5208. The reading clerk will please read.
This is a bill which amends the code related to exemptions from sales tax so as to provide that certain unprepared foods that may be purchased with food coupons which are exempt from taxes are not limited to certain federal regulations.
Question is, third reading of H5208. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Third reading is granted on H5208. We continue on page 10, H4679. The reading clerk will please read.
This bill enacts the South Carolina Drone Regulation and Public Safety Act by adding a section to the code to establish guidelines for drone operations and penalties for unlawful drone use.
Question is, third reading of H4679. All in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is given a third reading. Senator from Greenwood, what purpose do you ask, sir?
Mr. Consent.
State your request.
For a matter of personal interest.
Well, we'll have to wait to the end of the section. I'll come back to you on that.
I thought it was the end. I apologize. Mr.
No problem. No problem. Senator from Cherokee, what purpose do you ask? State your inquiry.
We're in between sections. We just completed the third reading.
We just completed third. We're getting ready to go to second reading.
Thank you, sir. Mr. President, I have a unanimous consent request.
State your request.
H 4300 currently resides in the Finance Committee. This bill raises mandatory judicial retirement from age 72 to age 74 and reduces judicial retirement from 10 years of service to 8 years of service. I request unanimous consent to recall from the bill from the Finance Committee and have it placed on the calendar.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from Cherokee to discharge H 4300 from the Finance Committee and placing it on the calendar? Hearing no objection, so ordered.
Mr. President?
Senator from Cherokee.
I have another unanimous consent request.
State your request.
Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that House Bill 5018, it currently resides in the Senate Finance Committee. This bill would put the governor and lieutenant governor under the agency head salary commission starting in January. I request unanimous consent to recall the bill from Finance Committee and have it placed on the calendar.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from Cherokee to discharge H 5018 from the Finance Committee and place that bill on the calendar? Hearing no objection, so ordered.
Lastly, Mr. President,
Senator.
I
Yes,
move
sir.
to invite the House at mutually convenient times to ratify acts, if necessary, today, tomorrow, and Thursday.
Motion is to invite the House at the mutually agreed to times today, tomorrow, and Thursday to ratify acts. All in favor of that motion, would please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you, Senator from Cherokee. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Parliament inquiry, are we between sections?
We have completed third reading, so we're in between sections.
I'd like to make a few unanimous consent requests.
State your request, sir.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a unanimous consent request to recall from the Senate Transportation Committee 4 road naming bills. All 4 are in York County, and I ask that we take these in bulk.
Without is there objection? Here, no objection, we'll take them in bulk.
51, House Bill 5189, 5190, 5191, and 5192, and recall them from the Transportation Committee and have them placed on the calendar.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from Berkeley to discharge H 5189, 5190, 5191, 5192 from the Transportation Committee and placing those on the calendar? Is there objection? Here, no objection, so ordered. Senator from Kershaw, what purpose do you ask?
See if I could speak on the podium on the 250th anniversary at the time. Thank you.
Senate stand at ease momentarily. We continue on the calendar. We're now in the second reading uncontested statewide section. That takes us to page 20 on the calendar, H 4303. We have a committee amendment. The reading clerk will publish the committee amendment. Senate is in order. The reading clerk will publish the committee report on H 4303, top of page 20.
Finance Committee proposes the following amendment. Minutes of bill, Section 1, strike Section 1221, 620, subsection A, and inserts.
Senator from Beaufort, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Explain the committee amendment.
You're recognized on the committee amendment. Senator from Beaufort.
4303 imposes a tax on a new product. It's a heated tobacco product. It is not a combustible product like cigarettes. So it purports to reduce the excise tax. But this particular subcommittee amendment deals with the imposition of an additional tax on vapor products and electronic cigarettes of 5 cents per milliliter of consumable nicotine liquid solution or other material containing nicotine that is depleted as a vapor product. So, in other words, this subcommittee amendment adds to the underlying bill a new tax on vape products in the amount of 5 cents per milliliter. Move adoption, Mr. President.
Pending question is the adoption of the committee. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose do you raise?
It's my understanding that they're working on a compromise. I'd just like to move to carry the matter over.
Do we need to carry on the committee amendment? Mr. President, stand at ease for a moment.
Stand at, you okay with this, with the holding that stand at ease momentarily? Stand at ease. Senate's back in session. Senator from Beaufort, what purpose you raise?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
To carry this bill on an uncontested basis over to the end of the second reading calendar.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request to carry over H 4303 to the end of the second calendar? Is there objection to that? Hearing no objection, so ordered. We now go to page 22 on the calendar, page 22, H 4000. H 4000. Amendment on the desk. The reading clerk will publish the amendment.
Amendment number 1 by Senator Johnson, previously proposed, amends the bill, strikes all after enacting words and inserts.
President.
Johnson.
Senator from York, Senator Johnson, what purpose do you raise, sir?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
I have 2 requests. The first is unanimous consent to withdraw Amendment 1.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from York, Senator Johnson, to withdraw amendment number 1? Is there objection? Hearing no objection, so ordered. Senator from York, Senator Johnson, what purpose?
President, unanimous consent to go to Amendment 3.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from York, Senator Johnson, to go amendment number 3? Is there objection? Hearing no objection, so ordered. We will proceed to amendment number 3. I ask the reading clerk to publish amendment number 3.
Amendment number 3 is by Senator Johnson. It amends a bill. It strikes all after the enacting words and inserts.
Senator from York, Senator Johnson, what purpose do you raise?
To explain the amendment.
You're recognized on your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, you'll recall a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, I was in the well and we talked about the liquor liability and how we were striking to change the liquor liability rules. At that time, I had not included language regarding 501c3 nonprofits, and this does that. What it does is it sets a limit of $300,000 for nonprofits, and it has a $500,000 per occurrence and $1 million in the aggregate for all bars and restaurants in South Carolina serving liquor. Move for adoption.
The pending question is the adoption of the amendment. All those in favor would say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. We have an additional amendment. The reading clerk will publish the next amendment.
Next amendment is by Senator Elliott, amendment number 2. Amends the bill. It strikes all after the enacting words.
Senator from Greenville, Senator Elliott. What purpose do you rise, sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. Move to withdraw the amendment.
Motion is to unanimous consent request to withdraw. Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from Greenville, Senator Elliott, to withdraw his amendment? Hearing no objection, so ordered. There are no further amendments. Senator from Orangeburg, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Can we now have an explanation of the bill as it stands after the adoption of the amendment?
Explanation is requested on H 4000. Senator from York, Senator Johnson.
To explain the bill.
You're recognized.
Senator from Orangeburg, it's a strike and insert. So the amendment is the bill. We struck all of the House language.
Okay, that's what I want to make sure. So now the bill, which is the amendment, does what?
Now the bill takes the limits, for liquor liability limits, to $500,000 per occurrence, million in the aggregate. For nonprofits, it is $300,000, and then it has a special, has a special policy, the one-time special event policy of $150,000 in the limits.
All right, and my final question is, are we convinced that these products exist?
We believe these products exist, and this is what has been recommended in my talks with the various departments around the state to make sure this can happen.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Pending question. The second reading of H 4000 toward the top of page 22. Question. The question is, second reading of 4000. Senator from York, Senator Johnson, what purpose do you rise?
Unanimous consent request?
State your request.
Unanimous consent to use the previous unanimous roll call?
That was on third reading, 46-0. Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from York, Senator Johnson, to use the 46-0 roll call for second reading, H 4000? Is there objection? Hearing no objection, so ordered. The bill receives a second reading of the Senate. Members of the Senate, let's please turn to page 25 in the calendar. Page 25, H 3558. The reading clerk will read.
This is a bill relating to calls for application for constitutional amending conventions made to Congress so as to retitle the article and to add new sections to define necessary terms, provide for the qualifications, appointment, oath, and duties of commissioners appointed to represent the state at Article 5 conventions, among other things.
Senator from Spartanburg, what purpose do you rise?
believe this is the bill that I tried to get my question answered on last week, and the same question that I asked maybe a year or two ago. Does anybody can provide an explanation?
Explanations requested. Senator from Pickens, what purpose do you ask?
I'll be glad to entertain a question on that.
Okay. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin.
Thank you. I'll ask, but will Senator yield? I know he will, but.
Senator yield for question. Senator yields for question.
Okay. Thank you. Senator from Pickens, I think you were at the podium and I asked the same question I asked a couple of years ago. I asked if then current Senator from Richland, Senator Harpootlian, would be eligible to serve as a delegate. And I'm still trying to see if he would still be eligible to serve as a delegate. And I was told here a week or so ago that they don't know. I'm really trying to figure out who is eligible to serve as a delegate, how all that would work out. That's really what I'm trying to understand.
There's a list within the bill. There's people that are qualified and are not qualified. A federal employee would not be qualified other than the military personnel. I don't have the list right here in front.
But to your knowledge, would the former senator from Richland qualify?
Unless he has some kind of an issue that I'm not aware of, such as a felony or something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Senator from Orangeburg, what purpose do you rise?
I move to give this bill a second reading, carrying over any amendments. I don't believe there are any, but allow amendments on third and waive the roll call till third.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the senator from Orangeburg to give H3558, bottom of page 25, second reading, preserving roll call to third, waiving the 3/5 rule for amendments on third? Is there objection to that unanimous consent request? Hearing no objection, so ordered. H3558 receives a second reading of the Senate. Senator from Lexington, Senator Kennedy, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Rise for a brief introduction.
You're recognized for introduction. Senator from Lexington, Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd ask that the senator from Greenwood, Senator Garrett, join me up here. Senator Garrett. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the honor of having here in the Senate with us a great family from Lexington County. They live right across the line from my district and in Senator Garrett's district, and they have a fantastic restaurant. It's called Mama Rabbit's in Lexington. It's got quite the menu. They've got crab cakes on there, eggs Benedict. They've got some funny name stuff like bunny tails, which is like some pancakes in the shape of a bunny tail with powdered sugar on it. It's really delicious. They got these really great salads that are named after like the Duke and some other things. Everything I've eaten just about everything on that menu. It's all really delicious. I know it's made with great ingredients, grown in Lexington, and it's made with a lot of love and a lot of conservative values. They're a good restaurant, and today we want to honor them for celebrating their 10-year anniversary. The restaurant was started by these 8 siblings. There's a Will, Sarah Grace, Spencer, James, Webb, John, George, and Richard, all of the Allen family. And we are so grateful that they have established a thriving business in Lexington and that they are so involved in our local politics. They really get the grassroots involved in Lexington County. They hold these things in Lexington called Freedom Friday, where they have speakers from all over the state come in, and they educate the people of Lexington on what we are doing here in the State House, different bills we're doing. And they're big supporters of President Trump, and we appreciate their hard work in Lexington. and we just wanted to welcome them to the Senate.
Senator from Greenwood is recognized.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say thank you. You folks have been so good to the Republican Party there in Lexington, and we hold a lot of our meetings right there with you. And it's always a pleasure. You're always smiling. You're always upbeat. You're always very positive. And thank you for being such good hosts to the Republican Party and also any other party that wants to come. Y'all are just tremendous, and thank you so much. Go ahead.
You want to read the title? You want the reading clerk to read it? Do you want to read it? Okay, reading clerk will publish the title of the resolution. Reading clerk will publish.
A Senate resolution to congratulate Mama Rabbit's Nibbles and Sips upon the occasion of its 10th anniversary and to commend the restaurant for its many years of dedicated service to the Lexington community and the people in the state of South Carolina.
The resolution has been unanimously adopted by the state Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from Lexington, Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Please stand to be recognized, and congratulations on your anniversary. We're delighted to have y'all with us today. Welcome to the State Senate. Thank you. Look forward to coming out and having a meal sometime. Thank you. Senator from Collinton, what purpose do you rise?
For a point of personal interest.
We're
at
not
the
to that
appropriate time, please.
I've got several, so I'll add you to that list. So. We continue on second reading of the calendar. Top of page 26. H 4589. We have an amendment on the desk. The reading clerk will please publish the amendment.
The amendment is by Senator Bennett, amends a bill in Section 1. It strikes Section 410-470, subsection H, item 3, and inserts.
Senator from Dorchester, what purpose do you rise?
Explain the amendment.
You're recognized to explain your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Hold on, just let me get just a tad bit of order, please. If you could, just have a little bit of order. Thank you. Senator from Dorchester.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this bill has to do with capital improvement sales tax and authorization use. My amendment deals with Section H of the bill, which only applies to Dorchester County. But what this does is allows for school districts to, upon a ballot referendum, have the voters put forward a 1 cent sales tax for capital expenditures. In Dorchester County, we have 2 school districts, and to have 2 school districts come up with the matching referendum language and what happens if one is a little different than the other, rather to avoid that, what the amendment does is removes that resolution approving the language and gives that to county council rather than school districts. Move for adoption.
Pending question is the adoption of the amendment. All those in favor would please say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. We have no further amendments. Therefore, the question before the body is H 4589 for second reading. Senator from Spartanburg, Senator Martin, what purpose you raise?
I would like to carry this over so I can look at it as somebody wants to do something with second reading versus third and carrying over amendments. I just want to look at it before I give it a roll call second reading.
Okay. Senator from Dorchester, what purpose do you raise?
A unanimous consent request.
State your request.
Unanimous consent to give this bill second reading, carrying over all amendments to third and waiving the 2/3 rule.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the Senator from Dorchester, Senator Bennett, to give the bill second reading, preserving roll call for third reading, carrying over all amendments, and waiving the 3/5 rule for amendments on third? Is there objection? Hearing no objection, so ordered. We go further on page 26. H 4706. We have an amendment on the desk. Reading clerk will publish the amendment.
Amendment number 1 by Senator Henry has been previously proposed, amends the bill in section 1, strike section 15-1,
Senator from
350
New York.
subsection B.
Senator York, Senator Johnson, what purpose do you rise?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
Mr. President, 4706, everyone may recall, this is the racetrack bill.